Hola chicos y chicas, ¿cómo estáis? Esta es una lección de gramática. En esta lección os voy a enseñar la conjugación de los verbos irregulares más importantes. Vamos a ver el manual. Here's the handout. So as I said before, this lesson is about irregular verbs in el pretérito indefinido, the preterite. And I've got irregular verbs, the most useful ones. So we have hacer, that is to do or to make. Ser, to be, for permanent qualities like soy profesor, fui profesor también en Perú. The verb ir, to go. For example, ayer fui al cine. Estar is to be for location or feelings. For example, ayer estuve enfermo. Ayer estuve cansado. Tener, to have. Could be a question. ¿Tuviste sueño ayer? Ver. Ver is an interesting one. Ver is almost regular. And actually, in the past, when I was a child, ver was a regular verb because in the past, you were allowed to put tildes on words of one syllable, like vi and vio, because that is not correct anymore. They are now, verb is become an irregular verb. But really for you, if you are learning Spanish for fun, you just think of ver as a regular verb and you'll be okay. So you must be wondering what's happening with these verbs, why I have written in red some bits. And what I've done, the reason for that is the endings that are the same as the regular verbs, I put them in red. So if I compare, say, hacer to the model verb comer, you will say tú comiste, tú hiciste. So it's the same ending. And so all these endings in red are because are the same as the regular verbs, just to give you some help, really, because irregular verbs are difficult to memorize because, as the name suggests, they don't follow the rule. But again, in time and with practice, you will get there. I promise you, you will. So that is why you got ser also with some endings in red, and the same for ir and estar ends in ar and is completely irregular. Nothing in common with ser bailar, the model verb. Tener has something. Haber is the best one. Something interesting that students always ask me about, and I say, just please accept it, because I haven't got a logical explanation. Why ser, to be permanent, and ir share the same endings? I don't know. There must be a reason in the past, but I don't really know. I haven't really researched that because I can't just research everything. I think when you learn a foreign language, there are things that you just have to accept. Again, the context will tell you what's happened. So if I say to you again, en Perú fui profesor. So I'm saying in Peru I was a teacher. But if I say, ayer fui al cine, it's good to be yesterday I went to the cinema, because I can't say yesterday I was to the cinema. It could, so the context will tell you. That is why it's important to learn grammar and vocabulary as well. So if the grammar is weird, you think, what's going on here? I don't understand. Then the vocabulary in the context will help you. So now I'm going to give you some deberes, homework. What I would like you to do is to translate these sentences from English to Spanish. And as usual, I'm going to give you some vocabulary to help you. This is all you need. If you've been following my lessons, this lesson on irregular verbs comes after the lesson on regular verbs that end in AR and the lesson on regular verbs that end in ER and IR. So I am not going to repeat the vocabulary again. So I assume that you've already watched those videos, and you haven't, just go back to them, please, por favor. So for this particular lesson, the vocabulary you need is mis deberes, my homework. El año pasado, that's last year, regresar means to go back. Regresar is a regular verb, but I didn't include it here when I made this handout because I believe it's better to just give students a little bit at a time, not everything. I cannot give you, too much vocabulary at once. It's not good for you. Just trust me. Cansados means tired, and oso means bear. Let's do one. Let's do one example. So this one, for example, I did my homework yesterday. So you say, I did. So you go back to your handout and you find, here it is, hacer, to do or to make. So you say, okay, so to do is hacer, I did is going to be yo hice. So you go here, yo hice. I'm just cutting and pasting. And you put it here. Yo hice. Of course, it's a sentence, you start with a capital letter. Yo hice. If you say, okay, my homework, how do you say my homework? You go back to the vocabulary. Here it is, my homework, mis deberes. Go back. And you write, yo hice mis deberes. Now, I haven't included ayer because I've already told you that. Can you remember it? Ayer. Here we go, as I've just said. And that is the one. Yo hice mis deberes ayer. Now, let's do number 2 as well. Because when you see this, you say, what's happening here? This is a question, and I haven't been told how to translate that did. So the first thing you need to remember is that this did thing to asking questions in the past is an English thing. In Spanish nowadays, we just keep the same structure as a sentence, as a normal sentence. For example, this one, yo hice mis deberes ayer. But if I wanted to turn this into a question, just put a question mark at the beginning and at the end. And that will become, did I do my homework yesterday? So let's do this. What did you do in England? So what in Spanish is qué. Let's see if I can do this properly. Let's see. I won't be able to put the upside question mark, but what I will do is, let's start with qué. Okay. Qué. That's what. What did you do yesterday? So say that bit as if it was just you did yesterday. So in Spanish, basically, we ask what you did yesterday. So you go back up there. You did, again, the same verb. You did is tú hiciste, okay? So all you do is what you did yesterday. ¿Qué hiciste en Inglaterra? Okay, now you could put the two if you want, but because the ending is just for two, normally we just leave it the two out. It's clear. ¿Qué hiciste en Inglaterra? And I hope that is enough help. Now, I would like you to translate the rest of the sentences from 3 to 15 with the help I've given you. Como siempre digo, eso es todo por ahora. Muchas gracias. Un saludo y esta vez un abrazo. Un abrazo desde Blackpool. Nos vemos, chicos y chicas. Adiós, adiós, adiós. Adiós.